Hi guys, Autumn here today to do my week 2 and 3 of June wrap-up. This is the BuzzwordAthon round 4 and the RomanceAthon wrap-up. So I have 11 books to show you, 2 of which I'm currently reading. So I have 13 books to show you, 2 of which I'm currently reading. So let's get started. I'll tell you what I read, what challenges, and what read-a-thon they were for. So the first book I read was The Duchess of Love by Sally Mackenzie. This is a prequel of her The Duchess of Love series. This was the first book by her that I've read, and this I listened to from the romance package, also known as now the Audible Escape. So yes, and I read this for the RomanceOpoly Mystery Challenge, which is to read a wallflower, and I picked a short book because I don't like historical fiction. So yes, this follows Venus and Andrew. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Then the next book is also historical fiction, and the reason I read this one was because it was the Read Me Romance podcast, and it's The Duke's Twin by Lauren Smith. The first book by her that I've read, and this follows Rebecca and Miles. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, and again was the Read Me Romance podcast book. And then the other Read Me Romance podcast book, The Midnight Bride by Katie Wilde. This is a fantasy. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. First book by this author. And yeah, this follows Mira and Strax. So yes. And then I'm just showing you all the ones I read on my Kindle, and then I'll show you my physical. And then I read On the Island by Tracy Gavigas Graves. This was for the RomanceAthon, and this was for the Forbidden Challenge. Also could count for pink on the cover. Sorry, my iPad is. But anyways, I read this. I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. This follows Anna and TJ. Anna is 30 and TJ is 15. Anna is TJ's tutor for the summer because he is in remission for cancer, and his parents are going away for the summer, and they hire Anna to be his tutor for him to be catched up. And on the way to their TJ Summers house, they crash and they are stranded on an island, and it's just them surviving. And yes, so 3.5. And then I read Restore Me by Alexa Riley. Also, this could count for pink on the cover too. I read this for the RomanceAthon, but I'm counting this for the Read a Romance 2019 release. This one just came out on the Wednesday, the 19th. I think it was Wednesday. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. This follows Gemma and Brox. And yeah. This could be also a forbidden romance because there is an age gap, and Brox was Gemma's father's best friend, and yes. So I enjoyed it, 3 out of 5 stars. And those are all the Kindle books I read. Now on to my physical stack. The first one is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. Mayonnaise. I think that's how they, if I remember correctly, that's how they said it on the audio. So yes, this came out on Tuesday, June 11th. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Really loved this book. Highly recommend if you're like romance. This follows Kristen and Josh, and they had a very cute meet cute thing. They got in a little car crash, and then they come to find out they're actually their best friends are getting married, and they are actually Kristen is helping her best friend with the wedding, and Josh is the best man, and he is also a firefighter, and Kristen is dealing with some health issues, and her boyfriend is overseas. She is dealing with infertility, and has that. I really enjoyed this book because it talks about infertility and how bad periods can be, and it's just really, I really enjoyed that because periods suck, and this one definitely talks about that and how the struggles of infertility and just that. So this book I gave 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I thought it was very cute and like real, and yes, highly recommend this book. And there's a little doggy on the cover. This cover is just so cute, and I loved it. Like, yes. Then I read Anywhere with You by Kaylee Ryan. This was the first book I read for the BuzzwordAthon round 4. The buzzword was you, so yes, this was a reread. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. This is a new adult book. This follows Allison and Liam. Allison lost her parents, and she's living with her grandma, and her grandma sends her away to college so she could experience that instead of taking care of her, and then she meets Liam, who is a football star, and yes, I really liked this one. 5 out of 5 stars. Again, was a reread. And then I read the second book in that series, More With You by Kaylee Ryan. This I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This follows Haley and Aiden. Haley is Liam's sister and Allison's roommate. And then Aiden was Allison's next door neighbor and Liam's best friend. So yes, 4 out of 5. So that continues with that series. And that was the second book I read for BuzzwordAthon. And then the first book I read for, what's it called? The RomanceAthon. And the third and final book I read for BuzzwordAthon was Everything With You by Kaylee Ryan. This is my new adult for that challenge for the RomanceAthon. Also, it has pink on the cover, so I can count that for that too. This is the third book in the With You series. This follows all 4 characters, Haley, Aiden, Liam, and Allison. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I loved Allison and Liam more than I liked Haley and Aiden. So that's why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Because yes, I enjoyed reading more about Allison and Liam than I did about Haley and Aiden, but I still really enjoyed this series as a whole, and yes, 4 out of 5. And then I went out a little order, so I'm like looking at my list. And then I read The Birthday List by Denby Perry. This was a reread. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This doesn't actually meet any of the challenges. I mean, you can count, there is a little pink on the cover, and yeah, but this doesn't meet any of the challenges. I just wanted to reread this because the second book just came out. So yes, this is the first book in the Mason Jar series. This follows Poppy, who loses her husband, and her husband does what is called the birthday list, where he writes down the age he wants to be and something he wants to do that by that age. And he dies, he was murdered, and 5 years later, she's just opening her restaurant, and she decides she wants to complete his birthday list. And then in walks Cole, who was the cop who told her that her husband died, and they form a friendship. He helps her complete the birthday list, and yes, very good, 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend. Yes, I love Demvy Perry. She is one of my favorite authors. So I will read anything she writes, and yes. And then the last book I finished was Alphas Like Us by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This meets the challenge for Man on the Cover and LGBT plus read. This follows Maximoff and Farlow. This is the third book in the Like Us series, and this is a male-male romance. I'm not going to tell you too much about this because, as I said, it's the third book in the series, and I listened to this on audio, and 5 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it, and highly recommend this series. Yes. I don't like this series as much as I like the Addicted series, but this series is still very, very good. And it's only the third book. The Addicted series has, I think it had 8, maybe 9. So we're only on the third. So I know there's going to be more books in this series, so by the time those come out, like if they have 8 to 9, I might love it more too. So, but yes, highly recommend Krista and Becca Ritchie. They're one of my favorite authors again. So yes. And it's only 10:30 when I'm filming this on Sunday, so the RomanceAthon doesn't actually end until 12 tonight. So I still have time to read 7 books. That's the last challenge. So for that, I am trying to read Letters to Molly, which is the second book in the Mason Jar series. I am like 111 pages in. So I am trying. I think I might be able to finish this tonight. If I do, it will be in next week's wrap-up. But this is the first book I'm currently reading. It also has pink on the cover, and it is a new 2019 release. And if I happen to do this, finish this one tonight, then I will have completed all 7 challenges for the RomanceAthon. If not, then I completed 6 out of the 7 and was very close to completing 7 books in the week, which is really good and I'm happy with. So yes, but this is the first book I'm currently reading, and this is this one just came out on the 18th, so Tuesday, and I'm really enjoying it so far. This follows Molly and Finn. Finn is Poppy's brother, and Molly is Poppy's best friend. They were married, they have 2 kids, and something happened and they got divorced, and yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. And yeah. And then the last book I'm currently reading is Half-Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is book 1 in the Covenant series. This is a reread. I am listening to this on audio. I'm 69% or pages in, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a YA paranormal god book, and I've read this. I think this is my 4th time rereading, and I am definitely going to continue on this series. That is my goal every time I read this, and I never do, but it is my goal. So that is what I plan to continue this. So I may finish 7 books today in between one of these. I don't know. So yes, I may complete the whole readathon, but if not, I'm happy with 6 out of the 7. And here are all the books I read in the last 2 weeks, and I'm really excited about that. If you've read any of these, what did you think of them? And if you participated in the BuzzwordAthon or the RomanceAthon, how well did you guys do? And yeah, if you want a full review on any of these, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to do that, and I'll see you guys later.